This is the Paltalk News Network.
The views expressed are solely those of the speaker and not necessarily those of Paltalk.com, AVM Software, or its advertisers.
News Talk is online. News Talk Online is a production of Paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet with more than 4 million unique users on demand on iTunes and on YouTube and on my blog, GaryBaumgarten.com, where you're encouraged to post your comments, whether you agree with yours truly or not. And thanks to our good friends at CRN Digital Talk Radio, we're syndicated to an additional 12 million households. I am your host, Gary Baumgarten. I welcome you to the show. You know, one of the recurring themes here has to do with both foreign policy and homeland security. Foreign policy with regard to homeland security, the confusion over the situation in Afghanistan and Pakistan, whether Iran is playing us and going to develop a nuclear bomb regardless of anything anybody does or doesn't do, and then it becomes a fait accompli, and then that debate is over because it will have happened. What we should be doing to protect ourselves. Just today, the House of Representatives passed a $10 billion bill with an additional $2 billion to improve port security for the Coast Guard. That was just today. It authorizes the hiring of 1,500 more Coast Guardsmen, the establishment of more maritime security response teams, expansion of the Coast Guard's K-9 detection team program, authorizing the establishment of a maritime biometrics verification system to be used on people interdicted at sea, and a public awareness program for recreational boaters to report suspicious activities on the waters, or as they say on the subway system here in New York City, if you see something, say something. It's as simple as that. I don't know how much more public awareness that needs to be done, but I'm all for the coasties being on the line of defense, and I think that our ports are very insecure. All of this stuff is obviously interrelated, and as we hear anecdotal instances of people here in the United States, some of them United States citizens, some of them naturalized, some of them born here. Same problem in the United Kingdom, some of them naturalized, some of them born there, citizens of the United Kingdom plotting and attempting terrorist activities and so forth. I'm thinking we got to bring somebody in here who's got a lot of experience who can help us sort this out. So I decided to reach out to the rogue warrior. His name is Richard Marcinko, M-A-R-C-I-N-K-O. He is a former SEAL from SEAL Team 2 in the Navy, and we all know what the SEALs do. Well, we don't know everything they do because it's pretty darn secret, but anything you can imagine, it's true. He's got a new book out, a new Rogue Warrior book out. It's fictional, but his books are always based on a bit of reality, and he now, in addition to being an author and a motivational speaker, he's a security expert. And he's actually, as the chair of the board of the Red Cell International Corporation in Washington, D.C., has consulted with Detroit Metropolitan Airport, the White House Fellows, the U.S. Army War College on security matters. Who better to bring in to News Talk Online on the Paltalk News Network to try to put all of this into real-time perspective for us. Demo Dick Marcinko, welcome to News Talk Online on the Paltalk News Network.
Sure, glad to be here.
Glad to have you with us. I don't even know which one of these many areas to start with, but I guess maybe we'll zero in, as we have been quite often, on Afghanistan/Pakistan. Right now, Dick, there is obviously inconsistency within the Obama administration. Both NATO and the president's own guy in Afghanistan, Stanley McChrystal, say that the mission ought to be the interdiction of the Taliban, and in order to do so, they need 40,000 more troops. The Vice President of the United States wants to reduce the number of troops and live and let live the Taliban and concentrate on bottling up Al-Qaeda and keeping them in Pakistan, I guess, and let the Pakistanis deal with the Taliban there and Al-Qaeda. There was a moment where I thought that maybe the Vice President was right, that there's a difference between the Taliban and Al-Qaeda, but those lines seem to be getting more opaque as time goes on. What should we be doing with regard to Afghanistan and Pakistan?
Well, Gary, that's a good place to start. My thesis of my military career was SEAL Team 6, which is now called Development Group, and I was fortunate just to go down for the 29th reunion of the shooters and got a nice briefing of what they are doing right now in Afghanistan. And I call them youngsters, but they're not young. They're troops that have. Many of them are on their 11th to 13th trip, either to Iraq or Iran. So, not Iran, but Afghanistan. I guess we're all going to end up in Iran anyway. But that's another show. Getting to your question, though, I think Al Qaeda right now is certainly the figurehead and is what I would call a franchise organization. So Taliban is a phase or is linked to Al Qaeda and gets training for them and gets some dollars for them, gets recruiting through them. But when you break it down to targets of opportunity, these fringe groups or franchise groups pick their targets on their own. It's not like that you have to wait from the hand on high, Allah, to say which one you get. You get whichever one you can. I don't understand the president who came in on we want change, yet the cabinet looks almost like they're old timers in town. But why would you pick Afghanistan? I mean, he was a professor. He had to read history sometime, and no major powers ever won in Afghanistan. I mean, it's like landing on the moon. And you wonder why the Taliban are such just tremendous fighters, because they have to be mean just to live. I mean, just to exist in that country, there's only two fields: minefields and poppy fields, and the rest is just rugged. I mean, surely the winter starts, and you're lucky you survive till spring comes, and you go out and kick ass again. So, why he was going to make that the benchmark of his administration, I don't know. And he, as you say, he picked the general. The general's certainly experienced in unconventional warfare. He's a bright general on the sheets. But to follow his counterinsurgency and to get the hearts and minds, you're not talking about pulling out of there within 5 years. You're talking probably close to a 10 to 15 year